For more on this, let's bring in political analyst Stefan Dolgert from Brock University. Stefan, all 13 premiers in Washington is unprecedented, but will this work? Is this meeting with Trump's advisors going to get the president's attention?
Well, I mean, he's a narcissist, and so he loves being the center of attention, and so, probably in some way he's getting something out of this. The premiers were meeting with some important folks. Howard Lutnick is Trump's nominee to be Commerce Secretary, so they have his attention. They met with him, but the key problem here really is we don't know what Trump actually wants. Is he really concerned with border security and fentanyl? Well, if so, then these meetings, probably will be productive. Is he actually trying to raise tariffs to a high level for a long period of time in order to discourage imports of foreign goods, in order to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S.? If that's the case, then these meetings are not going to be that effective. And worse yet, what if he actually is serious about economic coercion to actually pummel Canada into becoming the 51st state? If that's what he actually wants, then, these meetings are not going to be doing the things that the premiers actually want them to do.
Should we be reading anything into the fact that while all 13 premiers made themselves available in Washington, they're not getting to meet with Trump, just as advisors, or is that a minor detail?
No, I think it's probably an important detail. I mean, again, he's not having them meet with nobodies, but probably, well, again, maybe it's going to change. Maybe he is suddenly going to make time for them. He's been happy to meet with, Danielle Smith at Mar-a-Lago. So, maybe he is going to, open up the books for them in some sense, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
This stacking of tariffs, which was announced last night, how significant is this escalation by the Americans? How does that amplify the potential economic damage for our nation?
Yeah, it is serious, although I would say it's not catastrophic because the steel industry, it's an important part of the Quebec and Ontario economy, so something like 2.5% of GDP of the Quebec economy and maybe about 1.5% of the GDP of Ontario. So it's, 40,000 plus jobs across Canada. Obviously, that is important, but it's far less significant than the overall 25% tariffs, which would have, an effect of maybe lowering Canada's GDP by 2 or 3% in the first year.
So the stacking means that we're looking at a potential 50% tariff on steel and aluminum products. Given how much the U.S. relies on Canadian steel and aluminum, do you think the Trump administration could actually be serious about that number, or is this just more negotiating tactics?
Well, that's always the key question. We know that Trump subscribes to the madman theory that was attributed to Richard Nixon. He wanted the Soviets to think that he was a madman who might use nuclear weapons so that they would be, more tractable in negotiations. So there is that, but the problem is that Trump has indicated, that this economic coercion, he keeps bringing up the 51st state. We know Justin Trudeau says that he's taking this seriously. So Trump may well be serious about imposing economic pains on the U.S. in terms of furthering his longer term goals. And I think Canadians, the Canadian people, as well as Canadian politicians, need to take the 51st state threats seriously. We need to be doing things like radically lowering intertariff, interprovincial trade barriers, and, probably really boosting our military spending for our own protection, because we've seen that Trump carries through with his crazy threats. He launched a coup in the United States, something that no one ever thought he would try to do, and yet he did it. So we have to take him seriously.
That's political analyst Stefan Dolgert from Brock University. Stefan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.